So let's just move on to the next one. This one is an interesting one. Okay, it's about women in Congo enhancing their assets, injecting some stuff, you know. And I was talking about this and thinking about it, and we wanted to be very clear that this is not just something that's been done in Congo, this wanting to enhance the butt. This is a very popular procedure in the West as well. And I will show you some statistics. It's the one that leads to the highest number of deaths as a cosmetic procedure in the West. So it's called the Brazilian butt lift. So obviously the women in Congo are using chicken stock, and the women in the West are injecting some stuff to make their bottoms bigger. So I'm just gonna play 3 different things just to bring everyone up to date, and then we shall discuss, yeah?
These young girls believe that there's something wrong with them, and they want to do something by all means necessary, and the issue is they don't have enough money to do that. So if they don't have enough money to do that, they'll do whatever it takes to get that body, and in this case it's chicken stock. Hello fam, welcome to the African Diaspora News channel. I am Wangil Zalalem bringing you this report. Today's report is disturbing to say the least. It comes from Congo. I saw an article that was written on this women taking injection of chicken stock to get a bigger butt. Let me read for you the article and we'll come back and talk about it. In Congo, a woman with a huge butt is seen as more attractive and beautiful, and this perception has led many women in the country feel the need to fit into the standard expectation of beauty. The more disturbing factor when it comes to Congo is that women are not able to afford proper butt augmentation and have resorted to using chicken stock injection as an alternative. The procedure, which seems to work for many, is twice more dangerous than the proper procedure has been said to be. I'm sure you're wondering how they do it. So what they do is the chicken stock is crushed and liquefied into a thick paste, which is then poured into a syringe. The women successfully get the mixture into their body by anal injection. It is believed that the stock causes the tissues in the lower body to swell up and provide a thick bubble to look better.
Then I'm going to share the Western alternative here, and just hear what some news from the West is.
BBC News has learned that a second British woman has died from so-called Brazilian butt lift surgery. This is a cosmetic procedure made popular by celebrities, but the British Association of Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons has called it the most dangerous one to undergo. Fat is taken from one part of the body and then injected into the buttocks. Surgeons warn that many people are putting themselves at risk by travelling abroad to have the procedure more cheaply.
So we know who's made this get popular. It's this lady known as Kim Kardashian. Okay, so as you can see, the BBL has the highest rate of death of all aesthetic procedures. The procedure takes fat from one area of the body where it's not wanted and put in the glutes, which is the butt, to make it bigger. Then they talk about other patients who've died, and despite the risks, the procedure remains popular in a celebrity and beauty obsessed society, more than doubling in the last 5 years. So I just want us to talk about, first we've got the women in Congo. So they're saying men don't think skinny women are beautiful and they like women with big butts. And then you've got women in the West also going around injecting fat. So what do you guys think of this situation? Can we first hear comments about the one in Congo, and then we can also discuss this Western alternative. And I'd just like to point out that in both cases, the risk is increased from people who don't have money, just wanting this done at all means, by all means. So the cheapest they can get, whether they're in the West or in Congo. So let's just bear that in mind. So comments, please. Yes, Shiro?
as an African woman, first of all, I cannot understand why the Congolese women would do that, because we know that naturally African women are endowed in that area. So I don't understand why they would do that. But I do know that there are people in Kenya who do the same. And there's a woman who died. She was a married woman, which was perplexed everyone. And she was going to have those kind of surgeries, and she lost her life and left a young kid. So it really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, thanks, Shiro. But let's remember that not all Africans will be endowed. As we heard in the story, some women feel they don't have those assets and they're desperate to get them. Yes, was it Manette or Keshi? Sorry. Yes, Keshi?
Yeah, I wanted to say like you that these people who are doing this, it's not, some of them may even have an ordinary birth, but it's not that exaggerated big birth that has become the big birth that has become the norm and the trend. So it could be people who already have a birth, but they want that big Kim Kardashian, or we can call it Nicki Minaj birth. But what I wanted to say is, when I looked at this story, actually, I found this even less dangerous than what some other people do, because I looked at the ingredients of this Maggi chicken stock that they are injecting. Remember, they are not even injecting, they are putting it up their butts. So they are not injected into their blood vessels, but up their butts. And it actually made me think of an enema. People put coffee enemas so that they can cleanse their digestive system, or they can declutter, or not declutter, what do you call when
detox.
You have too much detox? Yes, detox their system. So for me, I found this, okay, I looked at the ingredients to see, are these women in very strong danger? It says the ingredients are salt, palm oil, antioxidant, flavor enhancers, wheat flour, sugar, onion, yeast extract, herbs and spices, coriander, caraway, and fenugreek and colors. And I thought these are the same ingredients we put. These are used in making sauces. So what's the difference between them putting it up the butt and eating them in food? Then I thought, yeah, they're injecting too much sodium in their system, which can be dangerous. But there are other people who do a worse thing. They eat chicken feed. You know, chicken feed that is used to fatten chickens before they are sold to be slaughtered. So this means there are hormones inside. So I thought this was the less of two evils. And yeah, I just wondered if these women have, it's too bad there's no follow-up video to see what's the impact of this, whether they are really in danger or it's just sensationalism. I don't know.
Thank you, Keshi. I didn't know people eat chicken feed to enhance themselves. Okay, so for you, you feel okay, it's a bit bizarre, but they're not in a life-threatening situation compared to eating chicken feed or going under the knife.
Yeah, I would like to see a follow-up video of the impact. What are the results? Are they really in danger?
Okay. Yes, Jamila, and then Shiro.
I was just going to say for Keshi, I think that it's somehow worse because when you eat food, your body digests it and breaks it down, whereas they're putting it up there without it breaking down all of the certain things and putting them into certain parts of your body. So it's all just going into one place. Like you said, they're putting too much sodium into one. It's just, anyway, but I think that it's actually sad that now they've managed to twist the beauty standard to it not being something that Black women have always had. So even they'll have butts themselves that everyone else is dreaming about, but they want to have a butt like Kim Kardashian, which is not her natural butt in the first place. And I just don't understand that. Like, you already have something that so many people just want, like a bit of, but you want to get something that someone who doesn't look like you has, and it's fake. And that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, I'm the moderator. Thank you, Jamila. Yeah, it is bizarre how social media reach in all parts of the world, and people who might have some things naturally still think that they need to enhance, you know. And we've seen this with many different things, like girls with just normal lips, no problem, thinking that they need to go and do this, whatever people do to their lips, you know. It's all over the place. I don't understand it, and the pressure that we women also sometimes put on ourselves to look a certain way that a celebrity does. Yes, Antonella?
I wanted to say that
And then Shamsa.
for
Sorry.
the third topic is over.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
That was fast.
Okay, let's hear Shamsa. Did
Yeah,
anyone
but I
else?
also wanted to say something about this, actually.
Okay.
In both cases, it is not acceptable, the beauty, the society that puts standards that are not natural. So personally speaking, I am in favor of the chirurgical treatment only if a person does really need, or if you have, for example, an horrible nose, you cannot see yourself even in the mirror. In those cases, when it comes the case of adjusting a little problem, I am in favor. But when it comes to point in every continent, that the chirurgical treatments are done to be more beautiful, but not for yourself, for what other people are asking, it's definitely not acceptable. And in addition to this, also it is even worse, it is even worse, the fact that there are not even serious doctors sometimes. So we must pay attention and not and wonder many times, is this operation really necessary to be beautiful?
Yeah. So we all know, like, some things are personal preferences, maybe due to serious self-esteem issues. I think the more disturbing thing is when people are looking at a celebrity or a boyfriend and wanting to do things not for other people, not for themselves. I think that's a big problem. And you need to look at yourself inside and just think, will I still be happy after I do this? Can we please hear Shamsa? And Keshi, the next part is yours, so you'll need to wrap up your point quickly and then go into your point, your next section. Yes, Shamsa?
Yeah, I just want to say that we need to stop these stereotype things. The main, as you said, main thing is your health. And, these fashion industries and the celebrities like Kim Kardashian, they are just promoting their products and everything they want to sell. We need to see our body. We can get the figure, body or health by taking good food or exercise. We need to prefer our health, not the standards, so-called standards, the fake standards. We need to, chicken stock or chicken feed, it's very dangerous for you. It will affect your hormones, and at the end you are risking your own life and it's not only health, you are risking your life, it can go to your death. So be very careful and try to get healthier life instead of taking these standards to put injection or something like that.
Thank you, Shamsa, for pointing out that there's some things we can achieve just by, living a healthy life, exercising and things like that. Obviously, it's not everything, but I think there are things in terms to do with the body that we can work on ourselves just through other means, not necessarily putting our lives at risk. So we'll move on to Keshi. She can give her point and then finish up with the last story.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, for me, this is a cautionary tale against do-it-yourself beauty enhancements. Just ask yourself, what is the impact? What is the result? What am I aiming for? And is this a safe thing to do? So
Sorry.
that's all I would say.
Okay, so the last part, which Keshi was meant to cover, but she's looking lost. So I'm just going to cover it. It's about the Windrush. So I don't know if you guys managed to do a little background, but let's just play this video because we found a really good video actually that explains it in a very short time.
2018 marks 70 years since HMT Empire Windrush docked in the Essex town of Tilbury, carrying 492 Caribbean passengers. Encouraged by a newspaper advertisement offering cheap transport, hundreds of Jamaicans made the trip to the country they had fought for in the Second World War in the hope of finding work. The UK faced a labour shortage following the devastation wrought by the war, and the passing of the British Nationality Act in 1948 gave Caribbean and other Commonwealth peoples British citizenship and full rights of entry and settlement. The images of West Indians disembarking the Windrush have come to symbolise the beginning of British multiculturalism, with those who arrived in the UK in the late 1940s often referred to as the Windrush generation. This wave of newcomers faced social and economic exclusion upon arrival and were regularly denied private employment and accommodation on the basis of race. Over the following years, the Caribbean community often faced racial prejudice and violence, and during the 1960s and 1970s, the government passed new legislation to impose stricter immigration controls. The 1971 Immigration Act restricted primary immigration to the UK, but allowed Commonwealth citizens already in the country indefinite leave to remain. However, the Home Office did not issue paperwork confirming the status of those who arrived before 1971, leaving a number of the Windrush generation in 2018 facing the prospect of deportation from the country they have called home for decades.
So people from the Caribbean and other Commonwealth countries were invited to the UK after World War II to provide a workforce, because obviously a lot of people died. These same people had also fought for the UK. So a lot of Commonwealth countries were recruited to fight in World War II for the UK. That's India, the West Indies, Kenya, you know, all the former colonies of the UK were recruited to fight for the UK and then invited to come and build up the economy again. And as you can see, they were just told they've been given indefinite leave to remain, but no paperwork was given to them. And lately, the scandal is that they've been getting deported, losing their jobs because they're told, you've got no paperwork, we're shipping you back to Jamaica or wherever, when they've never, you know, some of them were born here because their parents came here, and others haven't been in Jamaica for decades. So in connection to that, so that's Windrush, there was a recent story, which is why we were talking about this today. So we're going to talk about them together. So this is a story. The Home Secretary, she's called Priti Patel, said this week, which got some people annoyed and others saying, yes, that's okay. So she had a plane full of Jamaicans getting deported back to Jamaica. Some of them were brought here by their parents during that Windrush. You know, the ones we've talked about, parents who were told, come here, rebuild the country. So some came as children. They were born in Jamaica, but they came as children to this country. So obviously they committed a crime and they were being shipped back. Now, can I just clarify that they were all born in Jamaica. They just came here as kids with their parents when their parents were invited to come rebuild the country. So bear that in mind. So they weren't necessarily born here. So Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, was angry that people had campaigned and stopped this deportation of criminals back to Jamaica. So I'm interested in hearing your view, because some people are saying they're criminals, they can be deported, and others were saying some of these people, they haven't investigated their cases properly, and I know Keshi is gonna say otherwise, but there is proof that they hadn't investigated all the cases. Some were just petty criminals, so some were murderers and rapists, others were petty criminals. So what do you think? First of all, let's talk about the first story, people being deported when they had been invited here to build up the country. What do you think of that situation? So not the criminal part, let's first talk about let's start with Shiro, please.
I have a question because this is obviously not something I'm familiar with, but I'm just wondering, after living in the UK for all those years, why didn't they regularize their stay or their status, their immigration status?
Because as you heard in the clip I played on the BBC, the government told them that they've been granted indefinite leave to remain, and they didn't need to do anything about it. So they were treated as British people, just like British people don't have to regularize themselves or nationalize themselves. They were told, you're from a former colony, we invited you here, we've given you indefinite leave to remain. So it was never going to be an issue until they released a new law in 2012 saying you have to prove why you have papers for this country, which put people in a position where they say, we don't have any papers because we were told we don't need papers. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, yes, Antonella, and then
Well,
Keshi.
I have to add that this specific story about this generation is also connected with Brexit, because we don't have to forget that United Kingdom has an issue, and also the Brexit, with the immigration. And so the reason why they suddenly woke up and they said, but these people needed to prove documents, this bureaucracy excuse was just an excuse to obstacle, I mean, United Kingdom always sees at itself, because there is the sea with natural borders, and I'm not saying everyone, but generally speaking, one of the main causes of the Brexit was also that they didn't want to accept some immigration laws that Europe has, that European Union has. So of course it's not fair that they have asked this bureaucratic proof. It doesn't have sense. And so I am afraid that the things will get even worse after the end of the year, because Brexit will be finalized.
Yeah, thanks, Antonella. So yeah, at the bottom of this issue is the problem with immigration, and that people don't want, don't want immigration, which unfortunately has got these people who have lived in the UK as their home for decades and decades being dragged into this policy. And by the way, the Home Office destroyed their proof that they were invited here. So that's another very odd thing. So their landing cards from when they were invited were destroyed by the Home Office. I don't know really the background as to why, but those records were destroyed. So these guys were being told, prove that we invited you here. And they say, but the proof, you guys have the proof and you destroyed the records. So they had to start providing bills and things from over 30 years ago to prove that they've been in this country working, paying bills. It's ridiculous. And they've just felt used and discarded. They said, when you needed us, you called us to build the country. And even while we were doing that, we received racism and all that. But, we helped to rebuild the country. And now you want to throw us out. So that's the sentiment. I think it was Keshi, then Kirigo, please. And
Actually,
then Shamsa. Keshi, Kirigo, Shamsa.
Actually, I wanted to say what you said, because the question is, are they in Britain legally? And then, like you said, the Home Office kept no record of those granted leave to remain and issued no paperwork, making it difficult for the Windrush arrivals to prove their legal status. And in 2010, the government destroyed landing cards belonging to Windrush immigrants. So you can see they are caught between a rock and a hard place. It's now up to them to prove they're there legally, while actually they are there because they were invited by the British government. This is just scandalous. I think it just shows incompetence. I think it just shows lack of care and interest in people you drag or invite over to your country to help build, and then you really don't care after that. These people should actually be priority in British immigration, so that they are made legal. They were told at that time, anyone who came from a British colony was a British citizen.
Yeah.
With no paper, because you are part of the colony. So I think it's scandalous, and I think they should hurry up and clear up this and just make these people, it shouldn't be up to them to prove that they're there legally. It's the government who should.
Thank you, Keshi, that you're very right. Kiriko?
I totally agree with Keshi, because I think it's in the video, one of the videos that showed that they have to provide proof that they have been there all the way from, was it 1948, where they came. Every year they have to show they were there. I mean, that's the proof that's expected from them. So who keeps, I keep papers, I keep stuff, but who keeps stuff from when you keep bills, from when you paid a bill where you are for in 1948? Nobody does that. And I'm saying this and actually saying that they should be ashamed of themselves. It's so totally unheard of and so ungrateful, so nasty, so bad. I can't believe that they can call themselves a developed country and do that kind of thing, because they want to get rid of these Black immigrants who actually were not immigrants. When the minute they entered Britain, they were not immigrants. They were part of Great Britain. They were citizens. It's so it's actually heartbreaking.
Yeah, thank you, Kiriko. I think we'll have Shamsa, Jamila, and Manette, and we probably won't even cover the criminal one. We'll just say yes or no about it. Then we can see if we need to talk about it some more. So we'll have Shamsa, Jamila, then Manette.
Yeah, I just comment on that the Windrush scandal, as you told us the history and everything about the ship and the people came, and the people, the Windrush scandal, the scandal was foreseeable and avoidable. It could be avoided, but it's so selfish for me. It's so selfish when you requested people to come after the war and fill the gap. It was the gap post-war UK labor shortage, and you invited people, and your ship came here with the Commonwealth countries, and they came here to serve your country. And they were 492 passengers, and most of them were kids. They were children, and they came here, they served you, they spent their whole life here. Then the other generation came, and suddenly in 2018 you started it was a political scandal concerning people who were wrongly detained, and they detained, and people, when it happened, they treated like as illegal immigrants. Some of them lost their jobs, homes, pit across the NHS. That was a huge insult. Legal citizens were planned to immigrate detention centers, and some deported. Those who were abroad on holidays, they were refused back into their own country where they spent their whole life or where they born. It was a huge insult. Then they introduce a scheme, the Commonwealth countries, or the kids or other people who spend their whole life here, and they can apply for again they can apply, and they need to go through the whole process again. And it is a big insult for the people who serve you, and you behave like you are so selfish. You don't you can only use people like tissue paper and throw and flush them out. That's so rude.
Yeah, that is sad. Thank you, Shamsa, for sharing your passionate view about this, and I think we're all shocked at this story. Yes, Jamila, just a quick one.
Yeah, I'm shocked at the audacity in the first place. The blatant racism. They try and make it like a political matter, immigration, but in reality, it's just blatant racism. How can you get people to come over here to do something for you, and then you're like, okay, we don't want you anymore, bye. And I also wanted to ask the question of, where are all those proud British people who love to use the excuse of, we fought for our country? I'm like, yeah, so did other people, and now they're being sent back with the true British citizens that you love to preach about, who abide by the law and do everything British or whatever it is, but now you're just silent in this matter. It's just very.
Yeah, thank you, Mila. We do think it's ironic because we know how seriously the British take the Poppy Day, yeah,
Yeah.
and we respect it as well on Red Poppy Day, which is a day where veterans are remembered who fought in World War II and World War One. Actually, I don't know the correct history, so someone please correct me. But it's a very important national day here. But what people forget is that, like we've said, a lot of people from the Commonwealth were recruited to fight for the British. And actually, just the other day, and I didn't have time to add this story, a guy who fought for the British, a guy from Fiji, who's been here since the war ended, lost his fight this week in the Home Office to remain here as a veteran, somebody who fought for your country, and he's 70, whatever he is, how old he is now. They want him deported back to Fiji. They with no pension, no nothing. Yeah, after fighting and working for the government, for our British government, he lost the fight. So it's just very, very sad that people are used and then just discarded. Manette, please, your point quickly. Keshi, yours will have to be very quick as well. Yeah.
I'll be very quick. I just want to just give a little line of my own. I was facing deportation as well.
Oh yeah.
My child is, when I came to England, I'll be quick.
Yeah.
I was 28 years old. I used to be a singer. So I went, met this man, put me in his house. I got pregnant. He threw me away. A white guy. He said, take this money and get out, don't come back. So I was struggling all the years to get the law to know that my boy is a mixed race, is British. They say, no, how do we know he can be any white man child? So they never gave me status for my son or for myself. So throughout the year, strike rejection. 2018, they decided I have to leave their country. I say, no, I'm not going. I say, come and pick me up and put me on the plane. I'm not going to go to nowhere. So I waited for them for 2 years. They never came to my house to pick me up, actually to deport me and my son, who is born here, who's been raised here, is 14 years of age. So last year I went to school with the help of parliamentarian. I had to fight the law. They changed the law. Then last year they gave my son a British passport. So I say now, because they put my son a British passport, I couldn't work. You're not allowed to work. You can't earn money, but you still have to pay a ransom of money to stay in the country. So these people, they have a way of bullying people out of the country. Because I did not choose to be myself to be pregnant or whatever. I thought the man loved me. The man was 46 years old. He just threw me out, gave me £20 note and said, don't come back to my house. So things like this need to be challenged, you know. But I'm happy because Four Wings took over my case and helped me out. And now I'm financially now free. I can go back to work because they have helped me to pay for this resident permit. So we all need people, really. We need to be a voice to the voiceless. I think these things has to be challenged.
Yeah.
Not only my case, but the Windrush or whatever injustice of deporting people. Because if I get deported to Namibia, who's gonna look after me or my son?
Yeah.
I can work. They won't let you work, but you need to pay £2,500. Where will you get this money? And while you're not allowed to work, you're not allowed to receive any money from these people. So you need to receive food bank. You just need to stay there like you are useless. So anything foreign has to be useless. You can't do anything. It's really, this great has to be removed. The Great Britain is never great. It's always something about foreigners being treated like that we don't have hearts, you know?
Thank you, Minette. Because I also know that you worked for a number of years in this country, you were paying your taxes, and then when you found yourself in a difficult position, you were also just discarded. So it's a very cruel system, and I really hope that these Windrush people fighting will benefit some other people who are also law-abiding citizens from being deported unlawfully. Yes, Keshi, we really do need to wrap
So
up.
I just wanted to quickly say, what did the British government do? The then Prime Minister, Theresa May, apologized to the Caribbean leaders for their treatment of the Windrush group, and an inquiry was established, and the results of this inquiry report were released in March 2020, and there were 30 recommendations in this inquiry, and the British government said it accepts all the recommendations in full and is working on a plan to implement them. So what I want to say is, I hope with this inquiry and all these recommendations, some of them being appointing a migrants commissioner, establishing a race advisory board, and setting up a full home office review of the UK's hostile environment immigration policy. So I hope this can benefit people from the Windrush and all people like Minette who have been there working and not being a burden to society, but when they need, they are thrown out. I hope this inquiry can correct that situation, because that's the right thing to do.
Okay, thank you very much, Keshi. And just so you know, Theresa May might have apologized, but she's actually the one who installed this hostile immigration policy when she was Home Secretary. And then almost 10 years later, when she was Prime Minister, she was apologizing for it. So she's the one who actually implemented it, the hostile immigration policy. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I just thought it would be interesting to do like a survey or a poll to hear what everyone thought about this situation. So a flight with 23 people was stopped by lawyers and criminals was stopped from deporting people. Only 13 of them ended up being deported, and the rest were left to stay pending further investigation. So that was the story in the news in the UK that we didn't get to discuss, but that's what it is. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate we've gone over, but we also started